So what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. This video is entitled, "Will Immigrants Stay If America Goes Bankrupt?" It's a question. Um, Talking to one of my coworkers, you know, and we were talking about issues. I'm black, of course. He's Hispanic, and that's one of my guys. That's one of my guys, and we're talking about the black and brown experience, right? And we got into talking about immigration and the policy part, and I was like, one of the honest things about immigration is with us, you know, we don't, immigration really ain't an issue for us because we were never immigrants to begin with. So it ain't just with Hispanics, it's also with all immigrants from every other part of the planet. Like, we don't have the same plight as immigrants because we were never immigrants. And looking at the society, looking at how pretty much every country in the world next year is going to be in debt, except for China. Every country's money is not going to be in a good standing, except for China. I started thinking about this, where, okay, well, if America really goes broke, bankrupt, or whatever, will the immigrants stay? Because they came here for better opportunity, quote unquote, the American dream, the freedoms of America. But if America can't even afford its own freedom, will people from other countries who were impoverished are just going to go back home or try to go to another country? Because I doubt anybody could be able to go to China. Because China's economy is booming, and I doubt they're gonna let anybody in from any other place. And the cost of getting from here to there for some people is going to be astronomical, anyways, right? So, and it's a totally different culture and environment and the language barrier and this, that, and the third. So, I was wondering, like, people coming here for education, would the education look as good? Looking at the price of everything, because I was looking at an article maybe 2-3 days ago where it was saying the cost of living in, I think, the top 20 cities in America. I want to say it was the top 20, it's either top 20 or top 40. And basically, let's just put it like this. To live in the major cities in America, I think it probably was top 40. To live in a top cities in America, top 40 cities in America, you got to make 6 figures. To live comfortably you have to make 6 figures. So it was like at least $100,000 to upwards to $150,000, I want to say. And the irony of that is, when they were talking about the top 1 percentile, depending on which city you're talking about, there were people who were making the top 1% or 5% would be like somewhere between, from what I was looking, because I didn't go up the whole list because it kept going higher and higher. So it was like 200,000, and when I got to like 17 or 15, it was like 400,000, right? So I'm guessing it went up to $1 million because I know New York was on the list. So thinking about it in that term, I'm thinking to myself that if that's the case, next year America's debt is going to be higher than the GDP. A lot of people are unemployed, or underworked. Some people are furloughed. Industries are closing and shutting down. People are, all the under the table jobs that people was having is going to come to a head. The construction jobs are going to slow down. Your landscaping might slow down. The babysitting or watching kids might slow down. Getting people to clean the house might slow down. And these are all things that people will pay immigrants under the table to do, in a sense. home improvements, stuff like that. And then I started thinking about, what about the immigrants who come to this, immigrants come here not just for themselves. They come here to help their families in their home country. So if you can't afford to take care of yourself here, and the economy's bad here, you can't afford this to send money back to your family back home. So, is it worth staying? Like I said, I'm not an immigrant. I don't know. So this is a question, And looking at it, I'm not too sure. This is something we're going to find out, Not to mention, and this has been talked about before, and I've talked about this before, white America, half of their population is over 55. So, like I've said before, the next 5 to 20 years, the white population is going to decrease in America dramatically. Like, half of them are going to be dead. And that's going to change America. Part of the browning of America is the death of that population, pretty much. And with the country in debt, if immigrants don't come, or immigrants don't look at it like it's a feasible, good look, then what we're going to see is a lot of open land. A lot of open land. And I don't know and that might be a good thing for the country, And the reason why I say it might be a good thing for the country is because, the either everything's going to be concentrated in the cities, because there'll be less and less people in the country area, or vice versa. People are going to start moving out to the country because, like I said a few minutes ago, when I was saying the $100,000, well, basically saying this. If it takes $100,000 to make it in the city, the mean income was normally $50,000. So it was normally half of what it took. One person makes half of what it took to survive. So you need to couple up and to be comfortable. And I started thinking about it like, the government would have to really start taxing immigrants and quote unquote illegal immigrants and all that. They would really start cracking down because they're throwing people out. But at the same time, those people haven't necessarily paid into the system. So, but on the immigrant side, what's the benefit then if the land of milk and honey, the milk is spoiled. Honey doesn't rot, but it's spoiled and just spoiled. And what are you going to be here for? Maybe for the browning of America, who knows? But that's going to be the next 5 to 10 years, and part of this pandemic, if as it keeps going on and people get laid off, personally, I think it's going to accelerate the death rate of some of these older people because they're going to be more sedentary and nothing to do, and then just wither away, and no job to go back to, this, that, and the third. Like, that's going to affect America, and I don't think, truth be told, a lot of, say if the people 55 and up start passing away, I'm not too sure if there's enough people 54 and under who actually have the wherewithal to run the country. I'm just saying. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm done. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.